47 is Michael Allen. The property is located at 120 North Blair Street here in Lebanon. And the property is zoned General Industrial District and comprises of 0.61 acres. Ben?
Thank you, Mr. Pauly. Good evening, board members. I'll give you a brief overview of the request here tonight, and then turn over to the applicant to fill in any details that I've missed. You can see up on the screen here, this is the property in question. This is actually part of the old rail right-of-way that now has as you can see, a building kind of on the far western end of it. That building, unfortunately, received significant amount of fire damage due to a piece of equipment catching fire in there. And majority of that building burned to the ground. There's maybe a couple of walls that are salvageable, but a majority of that building was damaged in the fire to the point where it can't be salvaged. As Mr. Pauly mentioned, this is in the General Industrial Zoning District. Setback standards for the General Industrial Zoning District are 100-foot front setback and 50-foot side setbacks. And as you can see, this property is not very wide. So this is a rough drawing from the applicant showing the width of the property is about 72.5 feet wide. So when you consider 50-foot side setbacks, that means if you meet the setback requirement, you couldn't put anything on this property. So at issue here is the fact that we now have a legally existing non-conforming building that was damaged more than 50% of its replacement value. The ordinance says in that instance, you have anything that's reconstructed there must meet the ordinance requirements. As I just suggested, in this case, there is nothing that can be constructed that meets the ordinance requirements out here. So in discussing this with the applicant, you can also see here this building has, the main building's about 30 by 32 feet. And then you've got a couple of glorified lean-tos that have been added onto it over time on both on the sides of the building. So we discussed with the applicant is while you have an opportunity out here to reinvest and reconstruct on the property, if there's a way that you can construct something that's more usable for you, but at the same time does not increase the nonconformity of the structure, in this case, does not come any closer to the side and rear property lines than the property or the building it's replacing, then that's something that we could accept. So what you see here, the side setbacks on both sides are approximately 10 feet with the existing structure. And on the back, the corner of the building is about 20, a little over 20 feet. And then this lean-to, as I mentioned, is about 13 feet from the rear property line. And so this is a drawing then of a proposed new building, and it's turned a little bit different direction, but you get the general idea that, again, the rear setback is still 20.5 feet. Both sides are about 10 feet. And the footprint has become larger. It's just built, in this case, to the bottom of the screen. It actually gets closer to the front property line, but it's sitting so significantly far back from that front property line, as you see in this original one, that it's still significantly more than the front building setback. So the request here tonight is to allow the reconstruction of a non-conforming structure. It would maintain the same minimum or the same maximum side and rear setbacks as the existing structure. It will be slightly larger and encroach. That's not encroach, that's the wrong word. It will move closer to the front property line, but still more than meet that front property setback. So the variance request tonight, and actually the one other one that I forgot to mention, in the General Industrial Zoning District, it's a minimum lot size of 5 acres. Obviously, it's a 0.61 acre property, and it doesn't have the ability to meet the minimum lot size. So that would be the third request is for you here tonight. So first is the minimum lot size requirements just mentioned, UDO section 2.4.b, and then the minimum side and rear building setbacks 2.4.c. And so just real quickly, I'll run through the 3 criteria necessary in order to consider a variance request. The first is the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. We've determined that the reduction in the lot size and side and rear setback poses no imminent threat. In fact, these will have the same setbacks as the existing structure. Second, the use and value of the area adjacent will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. We've determined the requested variance for the lot size and side and rear setbacks will not affect the use and value. Proposed locations is essentially the same as the existing structure, maintaining those existing side and rear setbacks as I mentioned. And while the structure extends approximately 30 feet closer to the front property line, it is still more than 300 feet from the property line, or more than 3 times the minimum front setback requirement. Criteria number 3, the strict application of the terms of the UDO will result in practical difficulties. And we have determined the strict application will result in practical difficulties. The lot is only about 66 feet wide, so the 50-foot side setbacks from each side property line would mean that no building of any size could be constructed. rendering the lot useless. Additionally, while the applicant is combining two lots to make one larger 0.61 acre lot, there is no process or outcome that would bring the lot into compliance with the minimum lot size, thus justifying the practical difficulty. Finally, then staff recommendation, we recommend approval of the development standards variant request. And in this case, we went ahead and combined all three of those requests into one recommendation for the lot size and the side and rear setbacks to permit relief from the minimum lot size and minimum side and rear setback requirements to allow the construction of the proposed commercial industrial building subject to the following condition. And that would be that the proposed structure extend no closer to the side property lines than the proposed 10-foot setback and no closer to the rear property line than the proposed 20.5-foot setback. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Good. Thank you. Does applicant want to step forward and add anything?
Thank you. Mike Andrioli, 1393 West Oak Street. I'm here with Mike Allen. Done Mr. Allen's, a lot of his work over the years, and he owns a number of structures here in Boone County. Unfortunately, this structure caught fire and burnt. Under your legal non-conforming requirements, we would have been able to go ahead and just build it at the same spot without necessarily having a variance, but there wasn't enough of the building that would have allowed us to be at that 50% threshold to be able to reconstruct it. So that's why it was necessary for us to come tonight and ask for the respective variances that we've requested. Thank you to Christy and Ben helping us work through the process. This property originally consisted of two parcels. And we've combined those parcels for about 6/10 of an acre now, a little bit more, when you combine the two parcels, and we made them just one parcel as shown on the plat that Ben had showed you tonight. So be happy to answer any questions. It's no more elaborate than that. This will provide and allow for a modest building to be reconstructed as part of his portfolio. And he had a renter in the building before, and hopefully they're going to be the same renter that will be able to utilize the building when it's reconstructed. And again, thanks to Christy and Ben to help us work through the process so that we can get in. You know, when you lose income like that due to a fire, being able to reconstruct if possible is a very important thing, and they were very helpful in the process that allowed us to move forward to get to you tonight. So thank them again for that. Be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. This meeting is a public meeting, and I'll open it to the public if anybody cares to step forward. Let's see. Nobody step forward. We'll close the public end of it and would look for a motion.
I just have a quick question for
Okay.
Ben. So technically the address of this is the Blair Street address.
Correct.
So is it technically also a front setback variance?
Yeah, while the address is on Blair Street, it's almost perpendicular with Blair Street. I wouldn't typically call that a front setback. This is just kind of an odd situation. We're trying to figure out what's front. I think their primary access is off of Drake Street, but you do have the ability to come off of Blair as well. But
I guess what I'm getting at is we're good not listing a front setback variance there.
I think we're probably okay. I've designated that as the side setback in the staff reports. I think we're okay there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. With that, I would motion to approve the variance request.
With the condition that
I'm trying to pull that up. Where are we at? With the condition that the proposed structure extend no closer to the side property lines than the proposed 10-foot setback and no closer to the rear property line than the proposed 20.5 setback.
Second.
motion is second. Christy?
Corey Coots,
Yes.
Bruce Polly,
Yes.
Ron Edwards. Yes. Lori Gross. Yes.
Motion carries. Congratulations. Good luck.
Time tonight, gentlemen.
I don't think we have any other business. Does anybody have anything? I look for a motion to close the meeting.
Make a motion to close.
All, ever say aye?
I'll second it and say aye.
Aye. Meeting is closed.
I got too lucky, didn't I? Who are you?